Yeah. So I just want to share a few tips in public speaking. And because today is public speaking, I'm not going to say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies, good morning. That's boring, you know. Let's have, well, I want people to raise their hands. It's going to be an interactive session. What do you think when you hear public speaking? What comes to your mind when you hear the word public speaking? What does it mean? I just want to hear you guys throw in ideas there. Hello? But at least you know when you say what's public speaking, I want to, what comes to your mind when you hear the word public speaking? Anyone? Anyone? Well, you guys, come on.
Hello, good evening, Mr. President.
Hey, good spot. What do you, when someone says public, just don't raise hand, just speak up, man. It's a free session.
Public and speaking. Simply creatively engaging more than two persons. When you creatively put your words together constructively in order to engage more than two, three persons, you are engaging in public speaking.
Very good. Thanks, God's power. You Nelly? Songelea, the Burkina Faso. Okay, God's power. Thanks so much. We'll go from. Oh yes, you want to say something, okay. Songele? All right, we'll just go for it. We'll just go for it.
For me, what about
so we can't hear you, so Songenela. We can't hear you.
It's about.
It's okay. We can't hear you. You can type in the chat maybe. We can't hear you, so you just type in the chat. Now, yes, so like God's power said it, what's public speaking? And I want to, a speech is made of 3 parts, you know? A speech is like a plan, made three parts. One is, of course, the intro. A speech must have an introduction. A speech must have a body. A speech must have a conclusion. Now, what you hear most when you go to conferences, when you go to seminars, like people speaking in public and officials, most of the speeches don't have an introduction, don't have a body, don't have even it's all mixed up. You find a conclusion, jumps in. But for you as a planner, you want to speak publicly, or you have the invited or then debate, you must have planned 3 things. 1, introduction, body, and speech. I mean the conclusion. And each of the 3 parts have a purpose to serve. So I'm going to share 3 things. So the introduction serves, it's an opportunity for you to connect, to hook your audience to your speech, to hook audience's emotions to your speech. It's an opportunity to tell, so that when I hear God's power is speaking, I know that I'm going to follow that topic. I know that I'm following that topic. For example, if you're going to talk about climate change, if the topic if the topic is climate change, and you want to emphasize about the importance of planting trees, you know, so you want to, you know, your speech to follow chronologically, like say step to step. An intro gives attention. An intro introduces you to the audience. An introduction introduces you to, you know, connects you with the audience. The body. The body, like you hear the body when you are writing a speech, the body is there to help you hook the intro. Now it's time to give the facts. So what is contained in the body is the content of the speech. If you're going to speak about climate change, if you're going to speak about climate change, I would want to know, or you would want to know, you would want your audience to know, first of all, what are the effect, what are the causes of climate change? What's the cause of climate change? You know, you list all these factors. Number three, you're going to tell us the effects of climate change in the body. You know, you're going to tell us, okay, if you guys don't plant trees right now, or if you guys continue cutting trees, 10 years from now, we'll have no rain, you know? So you want to put a message home, you know, put a message home, like hook the audience to home, really. So that's number one. Number three, you're gonna share like some statistics to support your idea, to support your argument. It's like a writing, when you're writing an essay, it's a speech in a written form. So the only difference is that this is gonna be shorter and maybe no more details. So you're gonna tell us, why should we worry about climate change, for example? What should we worry about? So you must tell us the causes of climate change. You must address the effects of climate change in the body. And number three, which comes to, is the conclusion. And also you can try to suggest some solutions in the body, like, okay, this is what we're going to do moving forward. Therefore, this is what we are going to do as a climate change, you know, to curb down climate change or the effects, the solution. So I said it again, in the body, you're going to list the cause, the effect, and the solutions you're offering. Because you have seen, like, most speakers, they leave the audience hanging. You know, you say, okay, you say tribalism is bad, or African governance is bad, but you speak all the bad things, you know, and don't offer solutions. So you, an average speaker too, like others, you must offer tangible solution that all comes in the body. Now, in a conclusion, therefore, what comes in a conclusion? What comes in a conclusion is just, you are going to highlight. It's like, okay, you are going driving. Now you are on, you're going down, like down the hill, you know, you're going to tie all your points. You're going to remind the audience your topic. You're going to remind the audience your key points, and then sweep a conclusive, a sweeping conclusion. You know, you're gonna tell us, if we do not do this, this will happen. You know, but you're going to remind us. You know, you're going to summarize the basic argument, the most important argument of your conversation in a conclusion. So that's the theoretical part of the speech. So whatever you're beginning a speech, have that line in the body, because speaking, public speaking is like organization, you know. Take an example, when you come into an office and your desk and everything is disorganized for the day. What do you do first in the morning? You wanna, you know, clean your desk. You wanna make sure files are in the correct column, so that when someone needs something, You don't go around. So think about when you don't organize your office for the day. All files will be there, you will, be swapping and everything, Oh, you can't hear me, God's power. Oh, sorry. So I say that in the conclusion, you're going to summarize the basic points of your argument. What were you trying to communicate? You remind the viewers or the audience your topic, the core arguments of your speech. You remind them so that they they're hooked, and then you're going to give a sweeping conclusion, either quotation or something. I'll come to that. But theoretically, when you're going to begin speaking, think about that way. Think about introduction. Think about the speech. I mean, that you want to think about the introduction, speak about the body. And in the body, I highlighted what the importance of the body. I highlighted the key things. If you're talking about, I'll give an example about the body. If you're talking about African governance, let's say corruption, you're not going to say, oh, African presidents are corrupt. Oh, blah, 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 this and this and this. You're going to highlight to us what are the causes of corruption? To what extent has corruption retarded the development of our nations? So you're gonna give us that. And therefore, and so what if corruption is there? Tell us your solution. What are you offering as a solution? So the body must capture all those things in a nutshell. And then the conclusion, you're going to remind us the core arguments of your speech. So basic, starting to speak, plan that. Make sure you have an intro. Make sure you have the body, and make sure you plan for the conclusion. Basic. Now let's go to style, because now you have the body, and then you have the intro. You got the body. You got the conclusion. That's not enough. Now, have you seen people who read while speaking? Have you seen people who read about when they're speaking? Yes, that's not a public speaker, man. Public speaker, you must rehearse your speech. You can just carry paper, just maybe to remind you key points you made, but you can't read like every time you're like this. You're like this. Your Excellencies, Mr. President, Honorable Prime Minister, audience. It's a sermon, it's a church sermon, not a speech. So, but we are going to style now. We are going to a style now, because after planning your speech, there is a style to deliver a speech in a persuasive, in a very concrete, confident, and factual of your speech. So let's go to style. About opening the speech, because that's where, when you lose a strong opening of the speech, you've lost it. People are not going to connect with you. You're going to lose connection with your audience. People are going to be bored speaking. Now, how do you open a speech? For example, I want someone to tell me, how do you open your speech? For example, you're invited to a conference, and they say, Mr. God's Power is our guest speaker, or Justina, you are our guest speaker, or Emmaus, you are a guest speaker. So how do you deliver a speech? And you've seen, like, most of the time when you go, the most common way is Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Enoch. I'm married with 6 wives, 4 kids from Nigeria, wherever. I have 6 PhDs. My wife stand up and wave to the audience. Why? You know, another one will say, good morning, good morning. Is my mic on? They first do this. Is my mic on? Hey, how many minutes do I have? You know, introduction to a speech is what distinguishes great speakers and average speakers. People don't need to know about how many, whether you're married or not married. Who cares about that? They care about the message, you know, the message you're gonna give. It's what really matters, you know. So people will say, I've worked for 20 years, and that's an introduction. That's average introduction. So from today onwards, try when you're given a chance to speak. Good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That's just protocol. Hit the road, you know. How many of you watch TEDx talks? Anyone? Elizabeth, yes. How many times have you heard people speaking about their academic credentials, their titles? Be frank. Oh, saying good morning, good afternoon. Elizabeth, how many times have you heard those? You speak up, no problem. Very few. Oh no, nothing. Why? It's not because they're disrespecting protocol, but it's not carrying the message. You've heard about what we call icebreaker. One icebreaker. You need to hook the audience. So 3 important ways, and write them down to open a speech. Number 3, that will start from the bottom. Number 3, to start open a speech is a question. Start with your speech, open with your speech with a question. I'll give examples. A lot of people complain about youth unemployment in Africa. And it is really a big problem, right? Everyone knows here. You can feel the pain or the pressure. You can watch. Start with the question. For example, ask the audience this question. I'm just giving an example. Think about country. Oh, video. I will come to that, Justina, later. Now, you mean like public speaking? And we'll come to that later. I'll come to that later. Yes. So I'll come to that later. You can ask a question about unemployment, and you pose a fundamental question to the audience. Say, think about your unborn kid right now. Think about the heavy debt of our youth. Think about, you can ask 3 fundamental questions. Think about the future for our young people in the next 50 years. Think about the tragedy of homelessness. Think about the tragedy. Oh, come on. Please, when you come in, as a protocol, you mute, okay? Yes, you can pose 3 important questions, Think about the tragedy of homelessness, of our young people due to lack of employment. Think about the tragedy of our young people being drawn in the Mediterranean Sea, seeking a better life in Europe. after bringing all those facts, the audience will be like, ooh, what are you gonna talk about? And pose a very simple question. All of you in the audience here, would you like your young people to be like this? That's one of the ways you can start with your speech. Question. And this goes to any topic, whether talking about unemployment, whether about a climate change. Put a fact and say, another thing to start a speech. Facts. Question, fact. Now, fact is a statistical, proven scientific data you have to state, and should not be fake, because people on these days on Google, they will fact check you. Put a fact. What's one of the most shocking statistics you can ever hear? Let's say, they usually say that, I don't know how true it is, that the amount of energy that we use here on Earth, be cooking, be cars we consume, is not equal to a 2 minutes of sunlight. 2 minutes of sunlight. The energy, the whole consuming energy on planet Earth that we use is not even equal to a 2 minutes sunlight energy. So meaning 2 minutes sunlight energy is greater than all the energies we use here on the planet Earth. You see how shocking it is? So that's one example. Start with a fact. And it depends, by the way, on the topic you're going to talk about. That's about if they have invited you to talk about renewable energy, climate change, energy, or the importance of energy. So you can talk about that statistics. Think about, like, most people crucify corruption, but statistics have shown that actually over $500 billion are lost in illicit transfers from African continent to other parts of the world. And this goes with, it's not the corruption that Africans are crucified for even get. These are multinational corporations, these are international, whatever NGOs, that money is corrupt. But on the perception-wise, when you hear perception-wise, it's like, oh, money is lost in Africa. Please, just mute. So that's a shocking statistics. Now people will change their mind about, the perception of corruption in Africa. So that's one of the things. So start or open the audience with a question, number one. Number two, the second best is a fact, a statistics, an event that happened that is aligns with the topic you're talking about. Number one, which is the best, and you can prove me wrong or right, or the best. It starts from the best speakers in history, ranging from the religious leaders, political activists. For me, my favorite best speaker of all time, I think, is not Obama of 2012 and onwards. I don't know that Obama, but the Obama of 2008, Obama of 2008, when he was campaigning to be president, his speeches, and more so, the speech he made in 2004 on a Democratic nominee convention when they were supporting John Kerry to be president. So he made a speech, a remark, like in support of John Kelly. I think it's the best speech ever. And that's how America and the world knew that, oh, this guy is not a joke. You can watch it in YouTube. Definitely in 2004, I wasn't able to watch. I wasn't there to watch. But when you grow up, you can watch on YouTube. In 2008, I remember. I think I was in which class? Grade what? I think grade 6 something. So I remember, like, every evening when we come out of school, we could go watch. I didn't know what it means at the time, but when you grow up, you're like, oh wow, I missed. So that's how. But what is more important is the power of a story. Use stories. Even in normal life, you seem like people who have so much stories, people pay attention to them. You have like a friend or what, people with stories attract, because it's a psychological skill. Humans are not inclined to statistics. The human brain may not capture statistics well, but the human brain embraces stories because, look, stories have emotional attachments. So humans are emotional beings. So when you tell a story, you connect with the audience at a personal level. You draw all the attention, all people want to hear you because of the story. So start with your speech with a story. Now, when we were kids, they tell you long time ago. So what comes to your mind when someone says long time ago? Someone's going to narrate a story. Someone's going to narrate a story, and you pay attention to it. So starting with your speech with a story, and it could be about anything. Now, today, in a modern era, we no longer use long time ago. You can't start your speech to say long time ago or what. Now, to package it in a more, modern, convincing way, you can tell. So, for example, if you're asked about why you began something, that's an example. What do you mean the voice lost? It could be like internet adjustments. Yeah. So I was talking about telling a story. So if someone opens, let's say, okay, asks you, you want to tell the audience your story, and your story shouldn't be about you, but statistics have shown that the most successful speakers tell a story about themselves. It sells a lot because it comes from the point of authenticity, originality, and it is clear. It's not packaged, it's clear. For example, someone asks you, why did you start what you started? If you're a successful businessman, tell a story how you met a successful business uncle or what made you. Yeah, it sounds like a fair tale. Yeah, exactly. Tell a story like, I went to this place. I met this guy. From that day, it changed my perspective towards life, and I embraced the business skills. I embraced hard work. I embraced authenticity. I embraced networking. I embraced excellence. I embraced success. And that's why I'm here. And that's why over a long time, for over all these years, I have started this. I have grown to this extent. So ladies and gentlemen, like such things, stories make people come closer to you. Imagine a conversation without stories. In your personal lives, imagine a conversation without a story. It's boring, right? It's boring. If you can't tell a story, there are people who don't have stories in their life. And what they can on, they are going to discuss normal events happening. How are you? I'm good today. They either tell you the problem they have, or if you don't have a problem, they keep quiet. But a person with a story, oh, I made this one. It's good to convert, even a normal conversation. So storytelling, number one, is a tip to public speaking. Number three, a fact. Start with a fact. Number three, number two, that's number two. Number three, ask a fundamental question. And don't answer it, let the audience grapple with it. Now, that's the style. Second is delivery. Delivery. How do you deliver speech? Think about when you're in public speaking. And someone say, ladies and gentlemen, the power of corruption is dangerous, has killed more human beings than civil wars in Africa. We suggest people to use, let corruption. And I think I'm having these ideas. We should jail people, lifetime imprisonment. I think everything is gonna be good. How do you hear? And also, guy says, ladies and gentlemen, corruption has erupted a lot, people. It's a cancer to our society. It's something we have to deal with it. We deal with it with emergency. It is something that we have to tackle. It is something we have to end right now. If we do not end corruption, we are doomed as a society. Can someone tell me the difference between that? Who do you like to listen to? Me reading as a sermon, or with charisma and courage? So don't deliver your speech. And I'm not saying you're gonna be mad. I'm not saying you make noise. Give me a minute. Okay, please, can you mute yourselves? And hello, can you mute yourself? So we're saying that, like, you should deliver speech with power, with energy, with confidence. It's another thing a killer is confidence. Deliver speech with confidence. And confidence doesn't mean you shout. You control the audience, because at that time, I don't care whether you're the president or the 4-star general. When you are on the mic, you are the commander-in-chief. Have that confidence. When you're mic speaking, when the audience is speaking, you're speaking to the audience, you're the commander-in-chief. So you control the audience. And there's tone, pace, frequency, volume, frequency. When you want to emphasize a point, what do you do? Even in normal conversation, when someone wants to emphasize something, they speak slow. They speak slow just to sink the message. And when someone is trying to bring a revolutionary idea, what do? They hype their volume a bit. So it's the frequency, it's balancing. You know where to jump like a cartoon, and you know where to switch talk, speak slower, but emphasizing a point. The style delivery is important. Energy is important. Have energy in it. Control audience in it. Engage with the audience. How do you engage with the audience? Even when you didn't open with a question, you ask rhetorical questions in your speech. You're giving an opportunity to engage with the audience. So that's engagement. Because we've seen that the most best public speakers are charismatic. They speak with passion. They're passionate about what they're speaking. They're passionate, they're knowledgeable. They engage with the audience. And then from there, you're unstoppable when you start to engage with the audience. And the rest of things. So you have the power opening speech. You have the audience, you control the audience. Take a minute of silence when you're speaking and look at the audience. Look into their faces. Look, when you're emphasizing a point, pause a bit. There's that awkward silence that nails the audience, when emphasizing the point. And now, the most important thing right now, let's say we have got all those qualities. You have the audience in control. You have everything in charge. Practice speech. Practice. Practice will elevate you from just being an average speaker to a higher speaker. And practice doesn't mean you have to be good. I am told that when someone whispered that before Obama goes to speak in public, he spends 8 hours practicing a speech, pretending you're addressing the audience. You lock yourself in a room and practice the speech. Practice the speech, practice it. Have all those things intact. Now, for those who are just at home, you wanna, try to practice speeches, look yourself in the mirror, or have your video on. Nowadays, tech is, everyone has a phone, right? So everyone can record themselves, and see. So record yourself, speak while seeing yourself. Go to a washroom and practice speech. The style, the authenticity, the flow of words, eloquence, another important piece of speech, eloquence. Do you pronounce words and they come out? Or you eat the words, you stammer. So those are I think I can stop there and I wait for the questions, but those are the most basic important aspects of speech. And if you guys have a question, let me know. I can recommend some things to make you started like becoming that very good speaker with the audience and engagement. And listen, speaking is practice, like I told you. You may not know how to speak, but when you practice, you become better. So there is nothing, there are people who are born with the gift of public speaking. Definitely, they're there. They have natural charisma to speak. Speaking is natural to them, But if you're passionate about it, you can become the best with practice. Yeah. So I'll stop there and wait for the questions. If you have any questions or any contribution. Anyone with a question? Okay, so if there is no question, so Justina, you said, can I start with a video? If you're invited to speak and you think the video will hook the audience, please, you can. So it's also, you can do it, but it should be very short, so that people don't seem to watch a movie in the middle of speech. Yeah, God's power.
Thank you very much for that insightful teaching. Now, my question is very simple, and it has to do with phobia. A lot of
Phobia.
times there are phobia, yes. So a lot of people have the things to say they practice,
Yeah.
and by the time they practice, take time to practice, and by the time they get on stage, or once they are introduced into the hall and they get seated, maybe they sit where they have to face the audience, they begin to
Shiva.
shiver. They begin to shiver, and visibly, if you're sitting close to them, you see that they are shivering. And with time, once they're introduced to the stage, they've practiced, and they just get to the stage and begin to crumble in their voice.
Yes. Yes.
And then that is one. And there are also those who are good when it comes to stage speaking. Once it has to do with interview facing the press, you see them visibly shaking. So what's the solution to that?
Perfect. That's a very good question, God's power, because never be deceived. Everyone gets nervous when you're going to speak to the audience. Everyone, be it Barack Obama, be the best speakers you know in history, they get nervous. And if you have seen in the first 10 seconds of your speech, that's where people tend to become nervous. They tend to become nervous, Something too much light coming in. Yeah. So that's where people will tend to become nervous when they're speaking. How do you avoid that? It's honestly being aware that you're gonna speak it anyway. Even if you shiver, you're gonna speak. You can see people's here on the faces becoming. Now people start sweating in a way, So it's actually someone say that people fear public speaking than death. Uh, that's it. People fear public speaking than death. So number one to overcome that is practice, because believe me or not, a person you address the public every day, there is that fear that goes away regularly. It's not the same like someone who has come on the stage for the first time. It's not the same. So it's just getting there. And of course, when fear comes, what do you do when fear comes? When fear comes in your mind, you don't lose the battle. You face it anyway. You shiver for the first time. And if you have seen, for those who are spoken in the public, you get nervous in that 1 and 2 seconds. But in the middle of speech, when you're used to the audience right now, when you're speaking, you become strong, you become authentic, you become concrete, confident. So just know that it is very normal to do that, to shiver or something. That's because people are not yet used. They are in the process of learning. They are in the process of doing what they are not used to. But I get fear anytime asked to speak in front of a large number of people, what to do. Just cut off the fear, speak. The best way to get rid of fear is facing fear. Right? The best way of curbing fear is facing the fear. You know, that's the best way. Otherwise, I'll be lying to you and say, do this, do this, do this, do this, and do this. Because situations are going to come when they are personal, you know. We won't be there. So the best way I can tell you to prevent fear is facing the fear. If you are asked to speak, if you are asked to speak in front of a crowd and you fear, speak it anyway. You know, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. Speak. So you've seen that when next time when they ask you to speak, you'll be more confident because you spoke. But every time they ask you, say something, and you don't say it and fear it, the fear accumulates. The better is to confront fear. That's how you become, even not in public speaking. Anything that makes you frightened, the best way to come to face it is to face fear itself, and bring it you bring the battle to it, and you have seen myself too. Whenever I'm asked to speak in front of the audience, there's that to say, there's that to worry and say, what am I going to speak? You know, but every time you have shunned away from a chance to speak, fear accumulates. But anytime you're asked to speak and speak, fear goes away. So I would say, whenever you feel uncomfortable or nervous, please go ahead and speak. I guarantee you can't be nervous for the whole 5 minutes. You might stammer in 1 or 2 minutes and become stable. That's what I can say. And for those who have watched like Toastmasters public speaking competitions and had coaches and had mentors in public speaking, they can tell you that they face these things. These things are human. They're not because you're special. These are human things to because all eyes are on you. You know, it's scary, right? But the best way to come out of that is to face it and start doing it. When you do it, next time and do it, third time you do it, fourth time you become an expert. You'll be seeking even opportunities to speak, you know. That's the best way, my friend. That's how you prevent it, is to go ahead and face it. I watched a movie yesterday, and one of the verses that made highlight is to look the devil in the eye. No, that's the best way to calm fear. So that time the devil is the fear. So you look it in the eye. When you look the devil in the eye, it shies away. Thanks. That's fear is a bit. So I recommend some resources. One, I recommend that you watch TEDx. They're all over on YouTube. I recommend, if you want to become a good public speaker, please watch them, because those guys have mastered the art of public speaking. Second, I recommend Toastmasters International. You know, Toastmasters International. They also have YouTube videos. Please watch how the style they present. Like, watch the world champions all over the world, how they present their speeches, the body of their speech, the conclusion of their speech, you know, the intro of their speech, the style, the delivery, you know, the cupcakes, the icing of the speech, how they do it. And second, if you want to become a public speaker, read. Reading is a key to public speaking, because you need the knowledge. I told you, when you're in the front speaking, you're the commander-in-chief. And the least expectation of a commander-in-chief is to know everything, at least most of the thing. So you must read. You must use idioms. Chinua Achebe. Chinua Achebe. Speaking, I mean, like his fairy tales, his what do you call idioms, you know, those things, like bringing in cultures and integrating them, reading, researching, you know, it brings you there. And choose one of the best speakers you want to follow and see how the style they're delivering, the speeches they deliver, you know. So read a lot, read books a lot, be updated, you know, with the news, with the events, with things happening around the world. Now, what will you tell the world if you don't know anything? You know, you won't. So read, be informed, be on the top of the things to know. For books, buy public speaking books. Why? You can buy public speaking books that are not even expensive at all. Listen to this guy, Tommy Robinson, and end by telling you the benefits of public speaking. When you open your mouth to speak, the world know who you are. The best people in the world who have achieved success is not because they're the most intelligent people, but most of the time they're the best speakers. They loop the audience towards their side. That the people can command the crowd, you know. Commanding the crowd, you don't need to be big in size. You just have to be big in the voice. Sharpen that voice, sharpen that tongue. And for those who know that, you know, all of you, that words have power. Indeed, words have power, have a meaning, have a life. So the more you speak to people, the more you become in their life, conversation with their life, even when you're not there. You know what I mean? So command of language. There are so many smart people who don't know how to speak, and they lose so many opportunities. So public speaking is not like a normal thing. You have to embrace the art, bringing people together, sharpening them to your audience, and bringing them to a cause. You know, champion your ideas. If you do that, you have already achieved success is 100%. You have already achieved 70% of success. Other things is action, strategy. But if you're a good public speaker, if you're a good speaker, if you can channel the crowd to your attention, if you can take people to act, if you can inspire people to a higher cause in their lives, if you can speak to people and tell them what you want them to hear, if you can help people, gain confidence, you've achieved 70% of the success. Listen, how many successful people have you seen who are not good public speakers? Who? Starting from Masiwe, the African Zimbabwean billionaire. They're all given microphone to speak, and you can see the authenticity. It is tested, they're strong, they are bold, they are confident. You know, confidence is key. So ladies and gentlemen, I will end it here. A few words. With those few words, I appreciate you that you're on the journey to public speaking. Public speaking is not only speaking in public, it's sharpening your voice, is gaining that confidence, is having the ability to persuasion. You know, a good public speaker, you can even speak on the table. You're on the table together. But how do you channel the person sitting closer to you to listen to you, you know, to have that emotional connection? That's very important in life, in networking. I'm telling you, and you can also test it by your own. If you're a good public speaker, if you master the art of speaking, the art of persuasion, the art of emotional, speaking emotions to others, inspiring them to a higher purpose or cause, you have achieved 70% of success. The other 30 are technicals that are remaining for you to succeed. So take it away. Yeah. So thank you very much. Unless someone has a question, so we can call it a day. Okay. So have a very good day, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Have a good day again, sir.
Thank you
very
very much.
much for
Mr. President.